So everyone has been talking about P Diddy recently, and for good reason. Diddy has committed some of the most unbelievably evil acts imaginable.
And so she's in the hall and she's waiting for the elevator, and you can see Diddy walk up to her, and suddenly... Now, I can't show you this part because it is really, really violent, but I'll explain it to you. Diddy grabs her by the neck and he throws her to the ground and he kicks the out of her until she's unconscious and no longer moving. Like, it is brutal. There is no defending it.
But personally, I think there is something happening every single day that's arguably even more evil than the entire Diddy situation. I want to show you some video clips to try to prove my point, and then I'd love to hear what you think about all of this. So there's this one website, which I won't name, and there's this one particular woman, who I also won't name, because if you don't know about them, I'm hoping you won't go and look them up and destroy your life.
So you are aware that, like, you're the final boss when it comes to, right?
Is that what they say?
Yeah.
Is that what they call it?
Mm-hmm. And I know you saw the clip of Julia making $400,000 a month, so I just need to know, like, how much are you making a month?
I don't know if I don't really want to hurt your feelings. I just don't.
Hurt my feelings? What do you mean?
I don't want to say.
You don't have to say, just show me.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And I won't break your phone. I actually like kind of tearing up. $4 million? $4 million in a month?
Just so we're clear, this is $4 million in 1 month, selling her body to random men on the internet. The industry that she is in has a much larger impact on many more people than even someone as infamous as Diddy.
Yeah. 400,000 the last 7 days, in case you were... not even, it's more than that.
Thanks.
I can't even be mad at you. Like, this is y'all's fault. Like, how do y'all men even have that amount of money? You have wives, children, baby mamas, bills. Women, if you're seeing this, go through your man's phone. Because $4 million a month, I promise you, you will find that link in his search history. Go to private, go to the private tab. It's right there. Spider-Man video bot. Sick, you weird. It's weird, because she also looks 14. So, get your bag, I guess.
Thanks.
$4 million. Disgusting.
So this woman made $4 million in 1 month and $43 million in 1 year. And the other woman brings up the point that to earn this much money, there are a lot of men who are paying to watch her, including boyfriends, husbands, and Christians. We'll talk more about why this is arguably a much bigger problem than even Diddy a little later, but I want to show you a few more videos first. In this next video, the same woman says something I don't think anyone expected to hear, and it's pretty shocking.
I don't want bad stuff like flying around my name. I don't want people thinking that I advertise to kids because that is the last thing I want.
No, of course, I get that.
Yeah, I never, that was never my intention.
But she must know that there are tons of kids who have access to and are watching her content, right? So whether or not she's directly advertising to kids or not, the reality is that she does look really young, and so a significant percentage of her audience is going to be kids.
What happened was that it just like, I watched your video. That didn't sit well with me personally because it just kept me up at night, and I really don't like that you think that way.
Yo, really? Was it that
Yeah,
bad?
I don't want anyone thinking that about me. I'm a Christian. Like, I know it's like, it seems odd.
So she says she is a Christian, and when you think about it, it's kind of odd, isn't it? In the Bible, Jesus clearly says that sexual immorality and lust are so serious that if you don't fight against it, it's going to lead you to hell. And this is a woman at the very forefront of promoting sexual immorality and lust, saying with a straight face that she is a Christian. And I'll bet there are countless men who also call themselves Christians, who also think there is nothing wrong with watching this woman who claims to be a Christian sell her body to them.
I'm doing, what did you call it? I don't do anything else with anyone on my, like, it's just me. I was just trying to do social media. I've always wanted to be like an influencer. You know, I look up to all these different influencers, and I was like, I want to do that just for, and giggles just to do something fun with my friends or whatever. And so I start doing that, and my coworkers, some of my unfriendly coworkers that we weren't friends, they went to my manager and said that I was doing and saying I was a porn star and that I'm doing crazy stuff, which I never have. I'm a virgin. Like I'm a virgin to this day.
I'm honestly curious. Does she know about Jesus saying that anyone who looks at a woman with lust has already committed adultery with her in his heart? Just because she has never had physical intercourse with anyone doesn't mean she's pure or innocent before God. But I really think she honestly believes she can be unrepentant in promoting degenerate sexual immorality and still be a Christian. And there are tons of people like her, and a lot of popular megachurch pastors probably enable her in this belief.
You know, I just believe in all my heart that he's a Christian. He says he is.
Like, so people were going around saying that I was doing. I got to my manager, so my manager had a meeting with me, and because he's very Christian and he knows my family, he knows I'm very Christian, so he like sat me down and like questioned me and like made me like a 2-hour conversation. I was sobbing my eyes out, like, and he put me in a corner and like he basically fired me, saying that he doesn't want that like around his coworkers, but that was never even the case. So I got fired from my job.
So yeah, you got fired from your job even though it wasn't you.
Yes, and people just kept saying it was me because we do. I mean, I guess we look a little similar. And I just couldn't get away from it, so I just played into it. My friends and people around me were saying that I should just start and
Yep.
and that I should just play into it and use it to my advantage because at this point, what do I have to lose, you know? So that's exactly what I did.
So people thought she was someone else, she got punished because of it, and then she started doing the exact same thing that people thought she was doing, which means she started doing the thing that she originally got punished for, which means her manager was probably right about her in the first place. She's trying to paint herself as the victim here, but I don't think she is a victim at all. But this woman is just the tip of the iceberg in an industry that is arguably even more evil than Diddy's crimes. There's another woman from that same website, who I won't name either, who is going viral for sleeping with an unbelievable number of women in just 24 hours. Previously, she did this with 100 men, and this is what she had to say about this experience afterwards.
When was the last time you ate?
I think I had a yum yum, and then I think I had a sandwich, and that was and then the rest. It's not for the weak, girls, if I'm honest. It was hard. I don't know if I'd recommend it.
Why not?
I think if you're a different type of girl, it's very like, it's kind of like being a prostitute in a sense of like, it's just a different feeling. I don't know how to explain it, like...
It's not like just having sex with someone.
Yeah. Just one in, one out, like it feels intense.
Like more intense than you thought it might.
Definitely.
So something about this experience is making her cry and feel bad.
And she knows that. Why do you think she's breaking down? Why do you think she's upset? It's not just because of the physical exertion. It's because she made herself into a sex robot. She made herself into something profane. She did a profane thing, and she should be disgusted with herself. She should be ashamed of herself. And a society should be able to look at that behavior and say, that is wrong behavior.
But apparently this is not stopping her from doing this exact same thing again, except this time with 1,000 men. Now it's obvious that the reason she's doing all of this is for clout and to earn millions of dollars from men who want to watch this sort of stuff. And the really sad part is it's completely working. With the amount of attention that she's getting from this stunt, there's absolutely no doubt that this kind of disgusting, horrific behavior will earn her millions of dollars, and men will be paying millions of dollars to view this kind of behavior. And unfortunately, a lot of people think this is just a normal way to make some extra money.
And so I think that for me was like, I was like, oh, I'll do this on the side. Like, it'll just be extra money. A lot of girls in Scottsdale do it. Like, it's kind of the norm out here in the West.
To be clear, this is absolute degeneracy. But it's more than just that. This is sin that God hates, both from the woman's side and from the men who are paying for and viewing this filth. And unless this sin is repented of, it will be punished with eternity in hell. Jesus said, if your right eye causes you to sin, tear it out and throw it away. For it is better that you lose one of your members than that your whole body be thrown into hell. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. For it is better that you lose one of your members than that your whole body go into hell. And the reason why this kind of behavior is arguably more evil than even Diddy's terrible crimes is because everyone agrees that Diddy's behavior is evil. But there are still millions of people who are perfectly okay with women selling their bodies online to men who pay them millions of dollars to do this. A lot of people say this is okay because it's consensual.
Sex is just sex. Like, it's just sex.
But as Christians, we know that sexual immorality is described as extremely serious sin. And we know that this kind of sexual immorality is destroying the lives of countless men and women all over the world, far more than the number of victims of just one man like P Diddy. There are even professing Christians who are fully participating in this degeneracy, as we saw from the first woman even claiming to be a Christian. There's also a really dark secret that this industry is hiding about the suffering that many of these women are actually going through. There are many accounts of women sharing about this dark side of the industry.
Do you think there is some sort of post-traumatic stress that is in you from this experience?
Yes. People ask me if they should do and I tell them no. I tell them that it makes life really hard.
And then I think to myself, maybe a 9-to-5 won't be so bad.
Honestly, some of my experiences are really humiliating for me. Sorry.
Oh, don't cry.
I send a very strong message to young girls. Don't do porn. As much I understand it, you want to embrace your sexuality. You want to say, screw the man, screw whatever. Like, I can do what I want with my body, but you're just gonna have a life of crap in front of you. And
it was like 5 or 6 months in a row, somebody was dying. I have probably 15 friends that have died to either suicide or drug overdose. I just lost somebody that I was very close to last year.
I would pop as many pills as I could get my hands on and then just drink and drink and drink, trying to when I would wake up for my suicide attempts, I would get drunk, and like it was that realization that I hated who I became. I hated money, and it was killing me.
Addicted to drugs and alcohol. I was the kind of person that the porn preys upon, and I tried to kill myself with prescription pills. I didn't care anymore.
For 30 people who were dear to my heart, that I knew personally, that were in the industry the same time as me, they didn't see any light at the end of the tunnel. So 30 of those people have taken their life.
It shouldn't be surprising that a lot of people who are involved in this industry are experiencing psychological distress, and many are even ending their lives early. As evil as Diddy and his crimes are, his crimes will never impact even a tiny fraction of the number of people whose lives have been and are currently being destroyed by this industry. Men and women selling their bodies online, and men and women paying for this content, is not only resulting in guilt and shame, and it's not only destroying families and marriages, and it's not just messing up an entire generation of young people, but we need to remember that it's also sin. And yes, the sin needs to be repented of. But this is a sin that's particularly difficult for a lot of men and women to fight against. It's a battle that's really only possible to win by looking to God's word and trusting in the power of the Holy Spirit. And if you are struggling with this sin today, and I imagine many of you probably are, I hope you'll first trust in Jesus Christ and his power to save sinners through faith alone, and not through perfect behavior. And then second, find people you trust to confess your sin to, who can keep you accountable and encourage you to fight the good fight and stay on the narrow path.
When I encounter young men or young women who are struggling with pornography, and I think one of our greatest mistakes is that we talk about pornography only in terms of young men. There are young women who struggle with pornography, not in the same way, not in the same numbers, but it's real. We live in a culture, and that's one of the things that makes it very difficult to deal with. We've been so inundated with that we're desensitized to and that line at which we will say that's has been drawn so far out into the realm of the inappropriate that we have people who dress and they're not bothered by it, and we're not bothered by it anymore. So one thing that I say to people in this area is that we need to recognize that we're living in a pornographic culture. And the reason I say that is because part of dealing with the roots of pornography are acknowledging the fact that we have been desensitized to it. and acknowledging the fact that my problem with pornography, let's say that there's a pornography scale of 1 to 10, and 10 is, you know, full on, you know, I'm engaging in, you know, the worst examples and extremes of pornography. Well, I think culturally, we probably live every day around a 3 or 4, just in commercials and just in, you know, and just in the things that we become desensitized to. And so if I'm living at a 3 or 4 and a 5 or a 6 really doesn't bother me anymore, then when I get to a 9, my goal in dealing with somebody who's at a 9 is not to say, come back to a 5 or 6. My goal with them is to say, I want you to recognize not just that this is an issue, but that even those things that are down here in the areas that we're not even bothered by are issues. Not so that the person becomes, you know, just afraid of looking around, but so that the person becomes aware of their need for Christ to cleanse their minds, not just of the website where I'm watching, but also of my lack of sensitivity to those everyday examples of pornography that are around me. Because to the degree that I go on accepting them and am no longer bothered by them, to that degree, I'm setting myself up so that the leap from that 5 to that 9 is a very short leap. And it's not just so that I won't leap over into the worst of pornography, but it's so that I can understand the dignity inherent in human beings made in the image of God, and how my embrace of a perfect understanding of my fellow man, my fellow woman, is the embrace of the destruction of their dignity. So that if I see a young woman who is presenting herself in a perfect way, and that's not bothering me, I've just said something about the dignity of that woman as made in the image of Christ. And until that becomes an issue for me, not in the sense of walking around, you know, sort of with my eyes, you know, blocked off, but in the sense of appropriating God's grace and asking Him to appropriate that grace in me, even at that level. Until I'm there, I'm not really dealing with this issue of pornography. And ultimately, when I come down to it, not only is it that issue of the inherent dignity and value of human beings made in the image of God, the not defrauding my brother and my sister, but also this idolatry of believing that it's okay to use another human being in order to gratify myself in any way, sexual or otherwise. So what I want to do, and I know that's a long way around, but what I want to do when dealing with this issue is I want to uproot and uncover all of that, so that we can not just have this sort of legalistic response to, I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to put things in place so that I don't do that anymore, but so that we have a response that goes all the way back to the cleansing of our minds, to be able to appreciate one another as being made in the image of God, and not just accepting this ordinary predisposition that has become so normal.
Hi, my name is Mike. I'm a deacon, a husband, a father, a software engineer, and an amateur maker of videos. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to help me in my mission to spread biblical truth, just subscribe and watch these videos until the end, which will help the YouTube algorithm recommend these videos to more people. I'm committed to using the skills and gifts God has given me to glorify Him and communicate biblical truth, and I would be so grateful if you would come be a part of what I'm building. You can visit my website at joyfulexile.com to learn more about me and what I'm working on. I hope you're having a blessed day. I will see you in the next video, and remember, this world is not our home.